Hey folks, and welcome back to another episode of your Brains Coach podcast. My name is Shurina. I'm your host, I'm your Brains Coach, and it is my job here to bring to you all the recent, cutting edge, most interesting, useful, and effective brain body tools to help you feel, look, and do your best. Today's podcast, folks, it's a foundational podcast if you are the kind of person who wants to design your life, not just drift from one thing to the other, seeing how things unfold. And hey, maybe sometimes there is a season or times for that. But if you want your life to turn out somewhat predictably, and you want your life to become that vision that you have in your head, you want to realize certain dreams, that this podcast is for you. I'm gonna bring to you all the best research that is now available, that is recent. I put it in a 5-step framework for setting the goals to achieve them, turning your vision into success. So if you want something, please stick around till the end of the episode to have this framework that is, again, based on the best research out there available now, updated, not just SMART goals, but updated research helping you to, again, achieve with much higher probability the goals, the visions, the dreams that you might have for your life, for your work, for your career, for the way you look, for your relationship. So 5-step framework, that's what you're going to have by the end of this podcast. But before we jump into podcast, I want to share with you this piece of research that I found quite interesting, but I also want you to think about something that is even more bigger and fascinating. So they did this research, they interviewed a bunch of people, and they learned that people who were more successful with getting what they wanted were people with goals, who had specific objectives and dreams or desires, and they put them in goal form, right? Like, this is the goals, this is what I want by that date. So those people were 1,000% or 10 times more effective at getting their desires or getting the outcomes they wanted. So 14% of people had goals and they had the outcomes that were 1,000% better or 10 times better compared to people who didn't specifically set goals. And then from those people, that 14%, 3% of those people wrote down their goals, and the result that they got were 3 times better than the results of those 14%. So 300% more. So they already got 1,000% and 300% on top of that. But what you're going to learn today, even more fascinating, and probably going to make your goals almost impossible to miss when you keep following the framework. So if you are serious about your goals, not just saying you want them, but you actually want them, use this framework. And please, when you get your goals, share them with me. Remember that you heard about this framework, that you applied it, you got to your goals faster. And now just let me know that this was helpful. And I'm going to be super pumped to hear about your results. Now let's jump into the framework. First step, when you set your goals, you're going to sit down and journal or think about what you actually want. And when you're going to go through different goals that you might want or goals that you might set up in a certain way, you got to choose a goal, a vision, a result that feels a little bit outside of your skill set, a little bit out of your reach, something that is challenging, but not challenging to the point that you don't even believe you're going to do it and it stresses you out. The goal has to be somewhat, in the flow state research. They say your goal to get into flow state, for example, your tasks should be 4% more difficult than your current skill set. And that seems to be true for your goal setting as well. It should feel slightly out of your reach, slightly outside of your comfort zone, challenging. But it also should feel exciting. It should feel like it stretches you, but not going to break you, not going to burn you out. It also cannot be boring. And the reason why, and it's very fascinating, folks, the reason why it actually changes the way your brain works and your body work. It increases your systolic blood pressure. So it increases to the point the amount of adrenaline, the amount of dopamine released in your body, in your brain. It activates your energy system, your whole body, your brain for action in a very specific way that allows you to pursue your goal with energy, with drive, with motivation, but not with too much stress that it can stop you from taking action or make you procrastinate. So choose the goal that is a stretch goal, that is exciting, that feels slightly out of reach, but is not boring or feels like it's so out of reach that it just stresses you out even thinking about that. So this is very important step number one that's going to help you to maintain certain level of energy and motivation when you pursue that goal. So that is very important. When you think about your goal, make sure that it's that kind of goal that feels like it's going to stretch you, but you're still, going to be able to do it feeling excited, motivated, and energized. Step number two is all about clarity. Probably this acronym SMART goal: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. All of that is true, but maybe nobody explained to you why it's important to have specificity about your goals. And research right now shows exactly that the more specific your goal is, the more chances you're going to have to achieve it. So why clarity is also that important? And again, this probably you've never thought about and never heard about. Recently, I finished a book by Dan Sullivan. He's the co-founder, I believe also CEO of Strategic Coach, one of the best business coaching companies for entrepreneurs. And he wrote this book, 2x is easier than 10x is easier than 2x. And it's all about how to maximize your work hours, your resources, to get like astonishingly great results, something unconventional and bigger than what people perceive normal. And he talks about, of course, like goal setting and where you gotta focus. But what I took away was this insight that how you set your goals, how you create the agenda, going to change your strategy. So, for example, let's say you have 3 months of autumn, and you decide to get your income to 10K level. Now, if you decide to do that by the end of 3 months, your brain gonna start thinking about one kind of strategies. If you decide to do it by the end of the months, your brain will have to come out with different kind of strategies that are more suitable and effective for the time frame and result that you chose. The same, for example, with if you decide to lose weight. If you take 5 kilos and say, I want to lose it by the end of autumn, that's going to be one strategy. If you say I want to lose it by the end of the months, it's another strategy. It's going to be quite drastically different. And you probably have to think about some unconventional methods. So the same goes for business, the same goes for weight loss or any sort of pursuit you have. The more drastic your goal is, of course, the more innovative your strategy has to be, but also just this idea that when you're specific and clear, your brain now gonna deploy different thinking to start working on achieving this goal. So clarity is very important because only then your brain can create effective strategies to achieve that specific goal. Otherwise, you kind of going to be trying a lot of stuff, not really working or not working that well. So in order for your brain to choose the best strategy, you need to set those specific goals. So this is step number 2, clarity. Create clarity around your goals. What exactly it is you want to achieve and when, and perhaps, you'll get to the point where your brain starts coming up with different strategies on how to do that. But specificity is very important for that reason, to choose the right strategy. Number 3, time. It's important to have long-term goals, but it's also very important to break those goals down. And I work with a lot of people, and I noticed that especially people who are ambitious, high achievers, they don't always break goals down. And it's not great for the next reason. So what research found is that we people have the highest level of motivation, of energy to pursue our goals at the beginning of the goal setting period. And we also have the highest level of motivation when we are about to cross the finish line to achieve our goal. The worst part is in the middle. That's where the motivation is at its lowest. That's when we have the least energy, when we have the most tendency to procrastinate. This middle is when also usually people would quit, change direction, or decide that, again, the goal is not worthy, and again, quitting. So the trick is, and that's what recommended by researchers. I first heard it on Andrew Huberman's podcast and then from a few other resources. So the trick is to break down the your goals, your time intervals to achieve the goal into as many increments with milestones and awards, so to speak, as possible. So you make that second middle shorter and smaller. So if you have a 3 months goals, break it down into monthly goals, but then also into weekly goals, and then even into daily goals. So you have something to accomplish and to acknowledge and to celebrate, like telling yourself, great job, you achieved another milestone, right? Having this feeling of accomplishment. Have those milestones every day, and your middle is going to be super short, or at least weekly. So you only have, the mid-week. But who said you cannot break down that half of the week into 2 milestones as well? Again, what it's going to do, it's going to bring the beginning when we are the most motivated and the end when we are also the most motivated closer together, and you not going to have this tendency to quit or procrastinate or to slow down, right? So if your week is only 3 days, Monday to Wednesday, then your middle is only 1 day, and you're not going to be feeling that demotivated or feeling like procrastinating on continuation of your goal, or even like slowing down because the end is already there, right? So this is piece of goal setting, goal achieving that you don't hear that often, how important that actually is to break your goals down into smaller and smaller increments. There is a book by Emily Balcetis. She was on our podcast and she talked to a lot of Olympic athletes. And when she asked Olympic runners who would run marathons, like longer distance, where do they focus when they need to run this distance at a high pace to win? And all of them said, only on the next step. But what it basically means, they made their win, their milestone, a lot shorter. So their energy, because with that, when you shorten the pursuit of the goal, you get more dopamine released, you get other neurotransmitters and chemicals and hormones released that increases your perceived energy stage. So you basically feel more energized. So that's what Olympic athletes use, and that's what you can use. And that's also Navy SEALs use. They break goals down and they pursue the next step and only focus there. That also helps to decrease overwhelm and anxiety. It helps in so many ways when you break your goal down and only focus on the next step and make it as close as possible. Number 4, schedule the work. It should be obvious, right? If you want to achieve something, you got to put in the work. You got to create the time to work on that goal. But a lot of people still don't do that. Like, you set the goal and you kind of forget about that. You put it in your journal or maybe on your wall, and it's just there. And you're like, I'll get to that. You will not get to that. Our lives are getting busier. Our attention is pulled into all the different directions. And you will not, most of us will have enough of the things to fill in all the days till the rest of our lives. So unless you schedule extra activities for the pursuit of that goal, unless you put it in your calendar with all the reminders and everything that needs to be in place so you don't forget it, unless you do that, the goal is not going to happen. So schedule the work, and not just, tell yourself that you're going to do it then and that. Put it in your calendar. Yesterday, we had our Founders Friday climb up the mountain, and then at the end of it, we usually have coffees. And we started talking about scheduling everything. As an entrepreneur, the work is never finished. You're going to always have things to do. And we're talking about this, funny thing that we all do. We schedule our gyms, we schedule our dates with loved ones, with our families, with our friends. Because if it's not scheduled, we will always find something to do. But the same is especially true for goal pursuit. If you want to achieve that business goal, this is that new goal. If you want to achieve that new fitness goal, if you want to achieve that new weight loss goal, you got to schedule the activities that lead towards the achievement of this goal. This is very important. So use your scheduling software, whatever it is you use to not forget things and get things done. Use it for your goal as well, whether that's professional goal or personal goal. So number 4, schedule the work. And schedule it again the proper way. Don't just tell yourself. Put it in your calendar, put it in your journal, everywhere it needs to be, so you for sure show up for doing the work. And number 5 is, last but not least, writing your goals down. We kind of came full circle. Helps a lot to increase the chances of success of your goal. And that happens because of many reasons. First of all, when you write things down, you make it very prominent, you make it very clear, you focus your brain on that thing, you activate your reticular activating system that helps you to filter the world, so your brain brings you the tools, the tips, the advice. It's also in your memory, very recent when you write it down. But back to that, recency effect. You don't just write the goal down once, write it down often. A lot of successful people would focus on their goals at least once a day, but very often twice a day, and sometimes even 3 times a day. If they lose focus, they need to get back to their goals to refocus on the things that they're trying to achieve, trying to create. So writing down your goals is important, but what's even more important and effective, writing them down often and connecting with your goals often. Also, a small piece of advice: don't just write your goal down and put it on your wall. What research shows, anything that is a part of our environment, that our eyes get accustomed to, everything that we see all the time, our brain doesn't notice anymore. It doesn't pay attention to that. Your motivation and energy systems do not get activated by something just being passively on the wall. So make sure that you write that goal down. And if you do decide to put it on your wall, maybe have sort of a sticky note solution where you write the goal down every day and you put it on your wall down, and maybe change the colors of that sticky note. So that's how you would do it by science if you want your brain to notice, to pay attention, and to remember to put in the work. Now, a couple of extra pieces of advice on accountability and rewards. Let's start with rewards. Rewards, making yourself feel good about achieving a milestone, like you have your daily milestones, you achieve it. Making reward intermittent, so you don't acknowledge it every time, but maybe every other day, but even better, unpredictably. Maybe sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Like if I go and work out, I don't always acknowledge that, I'm so good, I did it again. No, but I do it from time to time, and it's enough to make me want to come back, make the sort of addiction going. And when I do celebrate, it produces this higher motivation effect. Now, for that to happen, what science shows us, the rewards have to be intermittent, and they have to be unpredictable. And also, you need to acknowledge your win, your accomplishment in the next few seconds after you did it. Not like you achieve a goal and then at the end of the month you decide to celebrate. Your brain doesn't make connection like that between the action you took, the result you achieved, and then the reward that is somewhere in the future. Your brain does the connection when it comes to reward pathways and encouraging you, motivating you for doing the work when you celebrate right after the finished work or right in the middle of the work. And Huberman always recommends to feel good while doing the effort, while doing the reward. So Make sure to do the rewards the right way. Make them intermittent, make them unpredictable, and also celebrate right then and there or during the work itself by acknowledging your effort and, congratulating yourself on taking this effort. But again, don't do it every time, do it every other time. And a piece on accountability. Don't tell people you're going to write the book. Don't tell people you're going to build this kind of business. That's actually been my mistake for a while. I don't talk about that anymore. Don't tell people that you're going to you're going to run a marathon, or you're going to lose that weight, or whatever that pursuit is. Don't tell people about the finishing of the goal. Ask people to keep you accountable on doing the work. Ask people to ask you about, did you do the work? Did you work out? Did you work on your lead generation? Did you work on your sales calls? Did you work on this and that? Ask people to keep you accountable on doing the work. Don't talk about the result achieved until it is actually achieved. Otherwise, what scientists show us and tell us, you're going to lose some of that molecular chemistry in your brain, in your body, of motivation and drive to achieve, because in your mind, you kind of already achieved the result. So there is no need to activate you fully for the work at hand. So don't talk about the result achieved until it is achieved. Ask people to keep you accountable on taking the action or doing the work that is necessary to achieve that result. And that's about it. That's what I had to teach you about scientific secrets of goal achieving, turning your vision into success. So let's recap. Number 1, choose the goal, the hardness of the goal right. Stretch, don't snap. It's got to be exciting, a little bit out of your skill set, but not completely stressing you out, or the dream that you don't even believe you're going to achieve. So stretch goal. Remember, a little bit outside of your zone of comfort in what's important, definitely not boring, not something you 100% certain you're gonna achieve. Number 2, clarity, precise, right? What you want to achieve, when. That is important, because then your brain gonna choose the right strategy that's gonna be the most effective for achieving this goal. So clarity around your goal is very important for success of that goal, because again, your brain will choose different strategy. Time. Don't forget to break your goal pursuit down into smaller and smaller increments, so you make the middle smaller and shorter, so you have no chance to slow down, procrastinate, or quit your goal. Number 4, schedule the work the proper way with your scheduling software, with your all of your notifications and everything. Don't be somewhere of just, carefree about it and like, oh, it's just going to happen. I'm going to put it on my wall. Well, that is better than nothing for sure. But schedule the work so you don't have, treat it like you would treat your work commitment or meeting with someone very important. That's how you treat your goal, scheduling the work when you are serious about achieving it. And then number 5, write your goals down frequently, not just one time putting it on the wall. Again, better than nothing, but what's even more effective, that's going to increase the chances of you getting to the goal faster and better, and for sure, is writing that goal and getting back to that goal at least once a day, even better twice a day, in the morning, in the evening, and then maybe in the middle of the day if you feel like you're losing focus. A piece about accountability, ask people to keep you accountable on doing the work. Don't talk about the result achieved until you achieve it, not to lose momentum and motivation and energy for doing the work. And rewards gotta be intermittent, unpredictable, and also gotta be right after you did the work or in the middle of doing the work. Hope you found this podcast very insightful and useful and actionable right now. Sit down, look at your goals, think about your goals. So take time this week and schedule it, right? Put it on your calendar. Schedule the time to work on your goals. You have the whole autumn in front of you. Set the right kind of goals. Do this experiment, set the goals do it all the right way and see yourself achieving it. So if you have also any questions, something wasn't clear, you'd like to get more resources on any of the points, please do reach out. Angela at brainbreakthroughcoach.com, Angela at brainbreakthroughcoach.com. Always feel free to reach out. I have something, if you don't mind, gonna share something that I'm super excited about. I finally put together something that I've been working for quite a while. It's just been fermenting in my head. I was talking to a lot of people and tuning in. So it's amazing, and it serves a purpose, and people want and need it. So I created this 12-week training, group training for 10 entrepreneurs. We're already filling in the spots, and it's going to start on September 18th. And it's called Unstoppable Entrepreneur, Making Success Inevitable. And it's a 12-week training, already mentioned, and it's going to cover 3 tracks: energy flow, brain, body, the hardware mastery, and personal genius or leadership OS mastery. So we're going to cover things like how to stay in high energy, high motivation state, productive state the whole day, from scheduling your best hours to do work at accelerated speed, to eliminating unnecessary, unimportant decisions, to batching your work and decisions, to, again, managing your energy state. So you, in the morning, you're dialed in, you're focused, you're productive every single morning, so you don't have that middle day slump and lose your productivity. So in the evening, you know how to cool down, how to create this chill time period, and then go to bed and sleep super well instead of feeling tired and wired. So that's the energy flow. We're gonna talk about breakfast and lunch and dinners to maximize energy and for greater sleep. We're gonna talk about supplements, of course. We're gonna cover sleep. We're gonna cover fitness, helping you to create the fitness lifestyle that will move you towards your goal and help you to stay there, no matter how demanding and busy your schedule, your life gets, how many travels and all kinds of social pressures you're gonna have. It's all designed, again, the program is called Unstoppable Entrepreneur. It's for business, for entrepreneurs. So if you want to be unstoppable, if you don't want to stand in your own way, and you have all the tools to be unstoppable, and no matter what life throws your way, to go through that and be this high energy, high motivation, not slowing down person who eventually gonna get that result. This training is for you. Or if you have friends like that struggling with focus and clarity, with overwhelm and procrastination, with energy and productivity and motivation being all over the place, please connect us. And then the third track, Leadership OS Mastery, is all about mastering focus, flow states, learning what are the frameworks, how do you actually set yourself up to maximize focus, deep work, flow state, how to also learn and be creative, how to eat for that and set your environment for that, how to also keep your motivation high and prevent your brain from experiencing overwhelm or complexity, making you procrastinate on the goal, on the vision that you say is important to you. We're going to learn how to easily deload stress and feel focused, calm, alert, instead of anxious, overwhelmed, all over the place, and very often stressed and pressured, getting your body into a poor state of health and energy and losing sleep. So we're going to cover all of that and more. The training is linked in the show notes. Check it out. The information is all there. We're starting September 18th. So again, please check it out, apply, tell your friends who are this kind of person, who want to become unstoppable entrepreneur and make their success inevitable. So that's the announcement. I'm going to announce it several times more. Check it out. The link is in the show notes. Unstoppable Entrepreneur, 12-week brain, body, mindset blueprint. And what else? If you found the information on this podcast useful and it is helping you in different ways to achieve your goals, to feel, look, and do your best, please share this podcast and rate and review and give us stars, a lot of stars. Again, review. And don't forget, folks, You always have me in your corner. Reach out at any time. Angela@brainbreakthroughcoach.com. And till next time, have an awesome weekend. Set the goals the right way, and I'll talk to you very soon.